It is going to be a good day today, even though I look absolutely shattered, but that's fine because I am actually really, really tired. Obviously the video started a little bit differently today, so I camped. I'm staying down near Swanage and Corfe Castle, and in fact I'm actually just walking underneath the Swanage to wherever it goes railway, steam railway, and I'm pretty pumped about today actually because I'm gonna go on the train. So basically what I'm doing is I'm working my way by walking to Corfe Castle now, which is the beginning of my walk today. So it's a good couple of miles there, and then what I'm going to do is follow the Purbeck Way all the way to Swanage, and we'll see how we're doing for time. If I'm doing alright, then I might just shimmy on up to Old Harry's Rocks, which is kind of a rock formation near sort of Purbeck Way. And then, goodness me, why is the slope tiring me out? And then from there, I'll just work my way down into Swanage and catch the train back again. And then maybe, depending on time, have a wander around the castle, if it's still open, the ruins there. Absolutely spectacular place to explore. And then work my way back to here, the campsite, and figure out what to do next. But it's quite a cool morning at the moment. I'm a bit late setting out, it's 9:30. But we've got some clouds in the sky today, so we'll just see what the weather brings. But whatever it brings, it's just so great to be out, and I'm really looking forward to sharing today with you. Right, so I'm just crossing the A351, trying not to get run over, and literally on the other side is this gate, and I'm going to go through the gate along the bridleway, which will take us pretty much all the way to Corfe. It's so beautiful at the moment. I mean, you can hear the wrens, and we've got chaffinch and goldfinch and all the birds just singing their heart out. We've got the blossom lining the hedgerows, the fields absolutely peppered with the yellow of dandelion, and everywhere just feels so vibrant and alive, and it's just so lovely to be able to come outside and spend time immersing myself in this landscape. And you know, it's not exactly a wild landscape, it's managed day after day after day, but the wildlife still thrives here, and I'm just going to try and stay vigilant throughout the day to see what we can see. I cannot tell you how happy I am right now. A little slice of heaven. Donkey heaven, eh, little bud? Gosh, look at this gorse. Is that not just the most beautiful thing? Just going underneath the railway. So very nearly in Corfe now. Rewind, rewind, rewind. The train is coming. I can hear it, it's coming, it's coming. Yes! Woohoo!
The Swanage Railway was officially opened in 1885 and used to ferry passengers and commercial industrial goods around the southwest for nearly 90 years until it closed in 1972. It then reopened in 1979 as a heritage railway to recreate and preserve the railway scene of the past. Understandably, it proves to be a hugely popular attraction.
Yeah, that'll be us later. That was quite good timing. We're in Corfe. Now I could, if I wanted to, work left and then right onto the Purbeck Way, but I'm going to choose to walk through the town just so you can get a feel for what it's like. It's a really pretty place, so check it out.
There's burial mounds all around the commons of Corfe that suggest the area has been occupied since 6000 BC. Nowadays, though, it's home to just shy of 1,500 people. The name Corfe is actually derived from a Saxon word meaning to cut or carve, referring to the gap in the Purbeck Hills where Corfe Castle is actually based. Aside from the traffic, the village is an attractive place with tea shops, bakeries, pubs, and of course, the grand castle itself.
So we have this little turning here, which is just off the main road. So the actual National Trust car park is down there, and we're going to head up here underneath the railway to the beginning of our walk. Let's get away from all this traffic, eh? As you can see, quite a few people park along here. Free parking to get into the village, but it fills up very, very quickly. I never knew this was here. Shallow Walkers car park. Wow. So there's actually a free car park here provided by the Dorset County Council, probably because they've just had enough of people like parking up here. But cool, there's a few spaces there. Could have stopped there, but we're not going to today, obviously, because I don't have a car. Right, we've got this gate here. There we go. Old Harry's Rocks. 6.5 miles that way.
The climb up to the top of the ridge was steady, but soon the views opened out to reveal the surrounding landscape. It was truly magnificent.
Alright, we are well and truly on the Purbeck Way now. But what is the Purbeck Way? Well, basically it's a designated trail from Wareham, which is that way, to I think it's Chapman's Pool, which is a natural sort of cove on the coast, which is that way somewhere. So it's 15 miles long, and I can't even remember if it's a circular route or not, but basically it travels right through the heart of the Purbeck Hills, which is where we are now. And it's such a stunning area, and if you time the weather well, you can't go wrong.
The route from Corfe to Swanage is hugely popular with walkers, runners and cyclists alike, and I was amazed and encouraged at the number of families and individuals out and about enjoying the way.
We've got some views down into Swanage. You can see the sea and the coastal village. It's very, very hazy today though, actually, but still pretty impressive. I've just stopped and got the map out to have a look at where we are, and it's quite interesting actually because I haven't looked at this much. I've just kind of been walking along the Purbeck Way through Aylwood Down, as we saw back there, and we've actually passed quite a few sort of tumuli, which are ancient burial mounds, and up the top of there, that big hill, there's one called Giant's Grave, which is actually kind of the whole thing, to be honest, but I just thought that was quite interesting. There's a few tumuli up there and tumulus at the top apparently, and you can see exactly why these people of significance during the sort of Neolithic period would be buried along these ridges, because as you tear up the earth, you can see it's very white and chalky. So these burial mounds, when they were created, would be so obvious in the landscape for miles and miles around, and they would mark the sort of tribal boundaries and territories, and they'd be pretty obvious where people could go and sort of reconnect with the deceased. But enough archaeology for now. Let's have a look at the map. So we are we're right here. God, that's some speed. So we're right here, and what we're not going to do is head down to Oswell, is we're going to continue along here and then climb up onto the other side of the map till we get to Old Harry's Rock there. So we've got a bit of a way to go. We're in reality probably about halfway along the Purbeck Way today, so I'm just going to stop for a little bit, refresh myself and carry on, although not at the speed of those mountain bikers. We are on the road, or nearly on the road. Now we're on the road. Crossing over. 4 miles to Corfe Castle that way, and hopefully all going to plan. Yep, there's a bridle way here, and this is what we follow to Old Harry's Rocks. Purbeck Way. Ah, you've got the bluebells coming out. Look at that colour. Ah, if only you could smell the smell as well. Stunning. I just wanted to explain my goal then for today. There's 2 trains I could potentially get back to Corfe from Swanage. There's one at 3:20 and there's one at 20 to 5. Now I'd really like to get the 3:20 if I can, because that would allow us time to go and have a look at Corfe Castle, just pay to have a wander around there, the actual castle itself. But if I miss that train, I'll have to get the 20 to 5 train, and by then Corfe will be shut. So if it is shut, what I might do is get off at the station further back, the one before Corfe, which I think is Hook Cross or something like that, and then I can make my way back to the campsite from there. But we'll see how we're doing for time. I'm trying to up my pace now. Let's get to Old Harry, and then from there work our way down into Swanage and just see what time we've got. But I just don't want to rush too much. I just really want to enjoy the scenery around me, the sound of the birds, and just the beauty. One of the interesting things about this area is the amount of caravan parks that there are. So this is Olwell Caravan Park just here, and then all the way to the horizon and beyond is another massive caravan park. I mean, it's great because it brings in tourism, but I think they should at least be green to blend in with the landscape. Something about the atmosphere of the weather has changed slowly, and it genuinely feels as though it could rain, just like a shower. But we'll see how we go. Coastal path for 1.5 miles this way. This pretty little dopey caterpillar is a fox moth caterpillar, and you often find them around gorse, which is where I found this little dude. Actually, he was on the path, so I just moved him off, but they're really soft. Oh, I'm sorry, don't be scared. I love finding them, but we'll go put him back in some gorse now and let him blossom and bloom into a beautiful moth. I'm actually really excited to hit Old Harry's Rocks now, and I know we're getting close because there's more and more people, but for me it's the legends and myths of an area that just fascinate me and really bring the place alive, as much as the wildlife and the geology as well. But legend says that, I mean, there's 2 main legends as to how Old Harry's Rocks was named. The first was that Old Harry was actually the older term used for the devil, and it's believed that he used to sleep there at night and no one would dare go near. And the other legend, which is my favourite because I'm a big fan of pirates, says that the infamous Harry Pay pirate, who was often found around Swanage area, he used to hide his ship behind the pillars and the stacks and wait for passing merchant ships and then jump out and attack them. And it fascinates me, the history and archaeology of an area and the stories that really bring a place to life. So we'll see what it's like when we get there. I haven't been here for years and years, so I'm absolutely stoked. We're nearly there.
Rounding the corner to the famous landmark seriously takes your breath away, and it's wonderful that you can access the area so freely. It's worth noting that the name Old Harry's Rocks refers to a single stack of chalk standing furthest out to sea. That's Old Harry. And until 1896, there was another stack known as Old Harry's Wife, but erosion caused her to tumble into the sea, leaving only a stump behind.
Let's walk right to the edge. Here we go. So you can see some sea stacks there, looking pretty impressive. And then what we've got here is a little natural arch in the limestone, and actually that's the beginning of how these sea stacks were formed. and it's a type of erosion called hydraulic action, where basically the force of the waves forces water and air into little cracks in the rock, which then build up over time and break off and build up and break off, and that just keeps happening until you get caves, and then you get limestone arches, and then eventually it climbs up and up and up until it all erodes away and you get a sea stack. I've just noticed as I was standing here looking at everything around me how there's the remains of a crab leg which has been broken into, and some kind of, I don't know, what is that, like spine? I'm not sure. And obviously there's a bit of bird poop about, but it seems to me as though the seabirds, I don't know, you've got black-backed gulls and guillemots are sitting over there on that stack. They grab a crab from wherever they grab it, whether it's a fishing boat and it's discarded or from the shore, and then they fly up here and peck into it. But I have to admit, it's not a bad location for a restaurant. Really enjoying just standing here and imagining this landscape being used by the pirate ships. Old Harry Pay hiding his ship behind those rocks waiting for those merchant boats to come past. It just looks like something out of the Caribbean, with the turquoise colour of the shore and all of the caves that they could hide their loot in. It's just really opened my imagination, it's great. Right, I don't have time to head over to that viewpoint. I set myself 20 minutes and I've used it up. I really need to march on down to Swanage now if I'm going to catch this 3:20 train, which hopefully I will, because I'd rather miss out on showing you Swanage today and get back to Corfe so we can have an adventure around the castle. So I'm going to tune into first gear and march back up and then back down into Swanage. I'm in neutral now. I'm just letting the trail take me. I want to catch that train. Oh my gosh, it's raining. What is happening? What is this stuff from the sky? Oh, I did think it was gonna rain. Hopefully you won't get too lost. The trail takes us through the village and I'm rubbish at navigating in built up areas. This way. I've already made a mistake. Rewind. Look, I'm not wrong. It says coastal path that way. Ugh. Okay, let's try this way. Way out. Yes, help me out of here. Alright, I've made it to some road and now just need to figure out how to get to the beach, and I'll know where I am when I get to the beach. To the beach!
I did indeed eventually make it to the beach, just as the heavens opened and the coast was engulfed in a heavy downpour. Swanage itself was originally a small port and fishing village, but in the Victorian era it flourished into a seaside resort that's still a popular place to visit today. There are shops selling everything anyone would need to fuel a seaside holiday, and of course there's the Swanage station, the start or the end of the Swanage Heritage Railway.
We're at the station. Thank you very much. Great, cheers. Wow, a lot happened whilst I was buying that ticket. The train has arrived and the sun has come out.
I hopped on the train only to find that all the seats were full, so I stood by a window. It proved to be a great spot to watch the fields and houses whiz by, and when the train went round a corner, I could see the steam engine that was pulling us along.
I've been looking forward to this all day, and we're finally on the train. So we're making our way across to Corfe Castle now, and I'm just going to enjoy the scenery and enjoy the ride. So the route we walked earlier took us all along that ridge down to Swanage.
Unbelievably, the journey only took 20 minutes, but it was just magical, and I felt completely transported back in time. There were station houses and pumps and train sheds, everything preserved as it once was at the peak of its use.
And there is Corfe Castle. We have arrived. Woo! We have a ticket. Let's go see the castle. The sun is shining. It has not rained here, and I'm so stoked about this. I love castles. Archaeology, that's my thing. I really like this depiction of the castle, so you can see just what it would look like before destruction. So we obviously came through the outer gatehouse, and this is where we are at the moment, and we can see all of the outside wall is fortified with these different towers, which are all protecting the main keep, and that's where everything would really happen within the castle. So if we look up, we can see the remains of the keep there, the outside walls, and we're just going to work our way around and have a look at everything.
The castle was built by William the Conqueror in the 11th century and was one of the first castles in England to be built using stone, when most used earth and timber. The stone was Purbeck limestone, quarried from a few miles away, and it proved its worth by withstanding its first siege in the Civil War of 1139. The castle remained a royal fortress right up until 1572, when Elizabeth I sold it to Sir Christopher Hatton. It was 6 centuries on that an Act of Parliament was passed at Wareham to destroy the castle. Deep holes packed with gunpowder brought the towers and ramparts crashing down, leading to the crazy angles of the walls that we see today. Eventually the castle landed in the hands of the Banks family, who after 3.5 centuries of ownership gave it to the National Trust.
It's quite interesting actually, considering how this area would have been defended during the English Civil War. So one of the main weapons used was a weapon called the mortar, which is kind of like a big cannon that could be used by one person, and it would fire a shell high up into the sky, which would then explode and kill people. Lovely. But the trouble is, it was very, very hard to aim with this weapon. So they were popular because they were effective, but not necessarily accurate, if that makes any sense. I just find it so amazing that we can come into these places and touch walls that are thousands of years old. And I just wonder the stories they could tell us through the scars that they show, if only they could speak. History and evil deeds. Corfe Castle has been many things in its lifetime, among them a treasury for the crown jewels, a prison, a grand country house, and now a spectacular ruin. Unlike you, many of its former visitors did not come here by choice. In its time as a prison, it housed a number of important captives, and it says about Robert, Duke of Normandy, who was imprisoned by Henry I in 1107, kept in the keep. Can't imagine being shut up there. Although I suppose you could spend your days kind of admiring the view. Fantastic views behind me over Corfe. You can see the church right in the centre there. You can really see why they built the castle here, just the surrounding views over the Purbeck Hills. No one can sneak up on you.
The main keep would have been visible from miles around, standing at 23 metres tall, making it 55 metres above sea level with its raised position on top of the hill.
I love how all the way through the castle there's just these little rooms that are tucked away. There's so much to explore, and you can only imagine what it would have been like when it was alive with people working here and living here.
There was so much to see and absorb at Corfe Castle, including a reconstruction of a trebuchet catapult, blacksmith huts and workshops.
Alright, we're leaving the castle behind. I spent about an hour and a half just wandering around looking at everything. It's been a real treat, especially after really pushing earlier today. It's just so good to have been able to make it. But now I'm just going to wander around Corfe for a bit and then head back to the campsite. The smallest town hall building in England, which just so happens to house the museum.
The museum is free to enter and has loads of collections from the Stone Age right through to the present day. They change their displays frequently as it's such a small space, and they have a wealth of artefacts to share.
Yeah, I mean all the ones that...
The final point of interest for the day was the St Edward's Church, built during the 12th century. During the Civil War, parliamentary troops stationed themselves inside of the church, using it as stabling for their horses and men. The church records were burnt, the doors were used in battle, and the masonry used for target practice. In the 19th century, the building underwent huge repairs, and wandering inside now is still possible to see the 15th century roof bosses, 13th century coffin lids used by the Crusaders, and 2 Purbeck marble tablets dating to the early 15th century. It's truly a fascinating place.
Goodbye Corfe. It's been wonderful. I'm going to make my way back to the campsite now. And it's a shame to leave Corfe, but it's not a shame to leave that noisy traffic, I tell you. So I've just got a few miles back and I'm just going to really amble along and take my time. But I can't tell you how relieved I am to have been able to catch the 3:20 train. Had that big push down into Swanage and then the downpour. So, you know, it wouldn't have been the best time to see Swanage anyway. And then it just meant I had a little bit more time just to relax and enjoy Corfe Castle in all of its wonder. And now I'm just going to amble back to the campsite and crash. I've done a good 11-12 miles today, which has been just awesome. Honestly, every step today has just filled me with so much joy, from experiencing the breeze up on the Purbeck Way and the epic views across the Purbeck Hills, to coming down into Swanage, and of course Old Harry's Rocks, how could I forget? That was just mind-blowing. And then just coming back into Corfe after that wonderful, wonderful train ride. Oh, I really looked forward to today. I've had it planned for a good long while, but just to have the freedom to come out here and do this has really filled my spirit with so much joy. I feel very, very full now, and I really hope actually that everybody I interact with from this point just gets a little bit of that joy, that it just flows out of me and I don't just store it up like a reservoir, but rather act as, I don't know, like an estuary flowing into the sea. But I'm just going to, as I say, enjoy this little walk back. It's about 3 miles or so, so I should hopefully be back by 6 or 6:30, depending on how slowly I actually go. And you know, the sun is so blissfully warm. I have finally dried out after that downpour at Swanage, and I just cannot wipe the smile off of my face. So if you're looking for a good day out, if you're looking to get your heart rate up, get a workout in, enjoy an awesome train ride and a little bit of history as well, I really recommend giving this walk a go. But guys, until next time, enjoy your adventures and stay wild.